me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
That makes me extremely proud to be a part of the profession. Just watching that video, I mean, it's just so much pride swells up on the inside of me after watching that, because I feel so connected to each and every part of what you described in that video. A lot of politicians and people that are in those positions, they don't necessarily understand what Parks and Rec does. They understand parks and recreation. They just don't understand the benefits to the community from a big scope.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, live from the 2025 NRPA Conference. Today, we sit down with Bryan Dixon from Henry County, Georgia Parks and Recreation, a department known for innovation, teamwork, and heart. From their hands-on mentorship initiative, The Watering Can, teaching real-world trade skills to youth, to their creative Goats on the Go program that's redefining eco-friendly maintenance, Bryan and his team are proving that Parks and Rec is more than facilities. It's about community, connection, and legacy. We'll talk about building stronger teams, mentoring the next generation, and why maintenance is the backbone of every thriving park system. Stay tuned. This conversation celebrates the people who keep our parks running, our events shining, and our communities growing. This is the Daily Parks and Rec Show, powered by DPRS Media Co. Let's dive in.
All right, this is Craig LeBlanc again with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I have a very special guest, Bryan Dixon from Henry County, Georgia. In my opinion, one of the best people when it comes to maintaining facilities. And man, they get them in trouble all the time. It seems like every time they come up with an idea at Henry County, Georgia, they start looking at you about how you're going to pull it off. Is that right? Pretty accurate?
That's pretty accurate. Yeah, we have a lot of fun in Henry County for sure.
Yeah. And now he is also a part of the Rec Room. So for those of you that don't know, we create a monthly podcast called The Rec Room. It's the second Wednesday of every month, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And we co-create it with Henry County, Georgia, where they bring their entire executive leadership team. And we really pull back the curtain and see how a Parks and Rec department runs and the culture behind it and the camaraderie. And Bryan's a big part of that. So I really appreciate y'all doing that with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. And now the other show that we have is a facilities maintenance show, because when I started this show and I asked directors, is there some area of Parks and Rec that we really want to create content for? And I can't tell you how many of them said, man, if you do anything for the facilities maintenance side of Parks and Rec, it is easily half of the effort and money and manpower and hours that we spend in Parks and Rec is just to maintain these facilities and put on these special events. So Bryan was one of the guys that really helped me create that morning show at 10:30 a.m. Monday through Thursday. So we'll play a quick little promo back about that and then come talk facilities maintenance with Bryan.
Behind every thriving park, every safe playground, every event-ready field, there's a team working before sunrise and long after sunset. This is Facility Maintenance, the only show created for and by the unsung heroes of Parks and Recreation. Brought to you by DPRS Media Co., where real work gets real recognition. From restrooms to rec centers, HVAC to turf tech, we go beyond the job site into the heart of operations that keep our communities moving. Our mission? To elevate maintenance teams through stories, solutions, and shared experience. Our vision? A world where every facility crew is seen, valued, and fully supported. Each episode features operators, innovators, and leaders, sharing tools, tech, and tactics that make the impossible look easy. Facility maintenance isn't just a job, it's purpose, it's passion, and now it's a show. Facility Maintenance, where tools meet purpose, where work becomes legacy.
All right, so we'll chat a little bit about facilities maintenance. So let's start by just discussing some very important program that I'm not even sure who came up with the watering can idea, but I think that's going to sweep the nation, and we want to really help it get into all these Parks and Rec departments. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the watering can?
Sure. So the watering can is a mentorship program The idea was birthed by an admin assistant in the front office, and then Thomas White had come to me and asked if I'd be interested. So immediately I said yes. And the maintenance team just took off with it. They developed a lesson plan for 8-week program, all based around skill sets, mechanics, small engines, landscape, irrigation, horticulture, carpentry. We check the boxes on all those things. And then the most surprising part about it are the relationships that are built between the instructors. I have a team of 7 or 8 guys that show up on their own free time. And they spend, an hour, 2 hours once a week with these kids and teaching them how to read tape measures, how to use different types of carpentry angles and joints and things like that I'm not even aware of. It's fun to watch. And now it's to the point where the kids are starting to show up at events to just not for the event, but to hang out with our own staff and be a part of the event setup, the tear down, and all that. So we know we're impacting our community in a big way when it comes to teaching these kids maybe a forgotten skill. A lot of these schools are not pushing these trade skills like they used to, and we're hoping to fill those gaps for them.
Yeah, fantastic. And so, I don't know if anybody knows about me. I used to be a master electrician, and I really enjoyed teaching the next generation of craftsmen. And it really does take a lot of mentorship, and I miss those kind of mentorship relationships that they used to have. And I'm glad to see y'all bringing that back, because it does take a lot of time to pass on that mastery that takes decades to get.
Yeah. And the biggest part has been the team building for my staff too. I mean, and that was unintentional. The guys are sticking around and trying to solve problems and come up with lesson plans and figuring out what's going to keep people engaged. And because of that, they have become closer, and it's just been very interesting to watch. It is the team building exercise for any organization that is interested. And it doesn't necessarily have to be based around, what we do. It can be based around what your organization does well. Maybe it's watering can 2.0, where it's typing skills or some type of administrative work. Whatever your agency brings to the table is something that you can kind of customize that piece to.
Fantastic. Now, why don't you cover a little bit about, because I don't think people understand the special events is a big chunk of the heavy lift that facilities maintenance does. And I think you were the one that told me that Fridays and Mondays and even the weekends are for special events. If we have to do everything else almost Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because y'all always have a special event that needs prep for. So maybe speak about the work that y'all do preparing for special events.
Yeah. So, I'll give you a good example of this past Friday. Currently in Henry County, we had a Ride for Unity going on. Which was a charitable event. The motorcycles going from one park to another. Shaquille O'Neal was present. And then, there's stages and tents and barriers and all the things that have to go in. So that's about a 4-hour setup. And then we have tournaments going on in Henry County. If we have the fair going on in Henry County, which we do currently right now, we have the fair in town at Heritage Park. And, that makes our jobs a little more challenging. We got to get trash cans away from certain areas and in place for these areas. We got to get lighting in place for, dark zones in the park to make sure that everybody feels secure and safe. It's I say tents, tables, and chairs, but it's a lot of things in between that also.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot that goes into setting up for a special event, and then it really is a nonstop thing for you. Almost every weekend you've got something going on.
Correct. Yeah. And then Monday's the breakdown. We party all weekend, and now we got to go pick it all up.
Okay, so I don't want to finish off the show or move on to the next without talking about your little goats program that came on. So maybe you can tell people about what that is. I love the video. I guess that was a local news channel.
It was Fox 5 Atlanta showed up and they had a lot of questions for us. They were very interested in the targeting grazing that we're doing. So just real quick, if you go online, Google it, goats on the go, and you're going to enter your state, you're going to enter your zip code, and they're going to find somebody that is close to you that rents these goats out, and they bring in their herds, and you just find the areas of your parks that have overgrown. There's no way for your staff to maintain it, or if they do maintain it, it is very daunting and expensive. And maybe risk is involved also, but you find these goats, they're in your area, they come out job specific, they give you a price based off job specifications. Not all jobs, not all areas are the same, so they reflect that in the price, and then they just go. I mean, they fence them off, and it brings an extra layer to community, because not everybody plays the sports. I mean, we use this kind of dual purposes. We've been doing a lot of renovations to Cochran Park, Stockbridge, Georgia, and we were 99% done with this park, and everybody in the community that plays the sport, they can enjoy that. But the people that don't necessarily have kids that are in the parks, or maybe they're a little too old, or they have grandkids that are not yet ready to play yet, but they can come into the park and see 94 goats on the side of the hill. And we've had people show up and eat their lunch beside it as a picnic because it's satisfying. I can't tell you the amount of people that come through with their cars and their kids taking photos and videos. That turned out to be kind of an event in itself.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. What a great idea. And I think JP came up with that one, huh?
Yes, it was. He brought it up, and I was at first like, what are you talking about? And but then as I dug into it, and then I saw it with my own eyes, I can't believe that not everybody's doing it. If you don't have goats in your Parks and Rec, you're not doing it right.
You're missing out.
You are missing out.
Yeah. Now, did y'all have to give them any paid holidays off, or do they not show up to work? Or
no, the only thing they do is take lunch breaks when they eat enough. Okay,
they get full.
Yeah, they'll take a little nap, but it's not for long. Yeah. But it's so interesting to watch them work. It's nature's landscapers doing what they were intended to do.
Fully autonomous, green, all kind of benefits, low emissions.
Yes.
Well, you don't want to step in their emissions.
No, we check all the boxes.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to play this essential services promo that we made for the industry, and I want to get Bryan's feedback on it. This is something that you can play for any elected officials. Kind of use it to defend Parks and Rec's dollars when they're looking at putting you on the chopping block. We wanted to make something to hopefully tell the story a little bit better, plant a seed, and maybe give you a good starting point for a conversation with somebody that might be looking to cut your budget. So we'll play this and we'll come back and get Bryan's take on this.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present. Parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety. A playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
All right. So what's your take on that one?
That makes me extremely proud to be a part of the profession. Just watching that video, I mean, it's just so much pride swells up on the inside of me after watching that, because I feel so connected to each and every part of what you described in that video. The other thing is this should be the opening act for every agency across the planet when you're trying to discuss what you bring to the table as an organization, because a lot of politicians and people that are in those positions, they don't necessarily understand what Parks and Rec does. They understand parks and recreation. They just don't understand the benefits to the community from a big scope. It's so huge. So this needs to be a staple in every organization as far as anything you got going on your social media, whether it be an opening presentation. I think you say it so beautifully in this video.
Yeah. Yeah, we really wanted to make it as a tool so that you can kind of tell the story, start that conversation, and kind of reframe it to where this is really an essential service and where community is built, and certainly not something you want to cut. And if you do cut it, you're going to be dealing with problems that causes. And I think that's when the police and the healthcare people have to get involved, is because you don't have a strong Parks and Rec department.
Correct.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, Bryan, I really appreciate you coming on the show today and all that you do to help
Thank you.
us with the Daily Parks and Rec show and the Rec Room and all the different innovation that your whole Henry County, Georgia is doing. I think y'all are doing a great job. And I can't wait to host y'all in my home state, Louisiana.
We're so looking forward to that. And we're so proud to be able to come down and spread our message and share our story with everyone.
Yeah, we'll definitely feed you well and hopefully show you a good time.
Thank you so much.
Well, take care, Bryan.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
At DPRS Media Co., we believe Parks and Recreation isn't just a service, it's the heartbeat of our communities. We exist to honor the people, the vendors, and the leaders shaping the future of Parks and Rec. Our mission is simple: to tell their stories, highlight their careers, and celebrate their essential work. Our vision is bold: to be the trusted hub where leaders, vendors, and communities unite, inspiring innovation, sharing wisdom, and building a stronger, healthier nation. Through over 220 live shows and 6 weekly series, the Leadership Series, Facility Maintenance, Young Professionals Network, Youth Sports Mastery, the Rec Room, and Growing Leaders, plus our industry-leading newsletter, the weekly Parks and Rec Post, we're building a media platform made for the Parks and Rec community. And now, we're inviting strategic partners to co-create this story with us. As a partner, you'll gain 12 hours of annual live exposure with custom shows highlighting your expertise, polished 60-second promos refined for maximum impact, year-round visibility with dozens of replays across our media network, premium features in our newsletter, and amplified social media reach across LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. This is your chance to educate, inspire, and lead while connecting directly with the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. This is DPRS Media Co. Let's build the future of Parks and Rec together.